Follow Ubuntu Radio on Twitter at Ubuntu Radio ZA.
Welcome back to Ubuntu Radio. The show is called SA Today. My name is Semi. And like I said, we'll be talking to, Arrive Alive. We'll be speaking to Advocate Johan Jacques, from Arrive Alive, talking South Africa's roads. It's the weekend, people will be traveling. And it's, I guess others got paid. So, there's a lot of traveling that will happen. And also, we're looking at school transport. We know that, media reports have said that, a taxi transporting school children was involved in an accident on Tuesday while a bus overturned, leaving 21 children, injured on the R44 outside Stellenbosch. And on Thursday morning, a pupil was left dead and 44 injured when a bus, following a bus accident in Limpopo. And now, we need to ask this question. Are roads safe? Are school children safe to be using public transport to get to schools? Advocate Johan Jacques joins us now on the line to talk to us about these issues. Advocate, welcome to Ubuntu Radio. Welcome to SA Today.
Thanks a lot. It's a privilege to chat to you.
Yes, sir. The state of our roads, the Arrive Alive campaign is always there. How are we looking as a country? Are we really safe on the roads?
Sure. The bad news is that it seems like we have a lot of work to do to make our roads safer. We're talking of about between 14,000 and 17,000 road fatalities per year, and often we overemphasize just the amount of fatalities. If we look at the amount of injuries on our roads, just last year alone, there was about 147,000 claims against the Road Accident Fund for injuries.
Yeah.
So even those numbers, the road deaths are sometimes not a true reflection. If we look at the amount of people that are getting injured and, maimed, paralyzed on our roads, it is a rather bleak picture, and we have to reduce those, road deaths significantly.
Yeah. So, what are you doing as as Arrive Alive to try and promote and encourage public awareness in terms of road safety?
Yes, to achieve road safety, we always say we need to focus on the 4 or 5 E's. And I just quickly want to go through those. Mm-hmm. We need to look at engineering, we need to look at education, we need to look at enforcement, and we need to look at evaluation. Okay. Now, the education bit is that we can do on Arrive Alive to make sure that people know what are the rules of the road. Nobody must be able to say that, he did not know. Our focus from the online site with Arrive Alive is to ensure that when somebody searches on the internet search engines such as Google for information, that it must be able to find that journalists and students can also find information, and that we can distribute road safety information on a wide variety of platforms. We also have a Twitter handle, @_Arrive Alive, where we try to feed, provide regular updates on road safety issues. I still believe in South Africa, engineering is also a big part to make the road safe, to ensure that there are no potholes, that there are guardrails and stuff. But I think enforcement is one of the areas where we are lacking at the moment. Okay. We need more effective enforcement, and not just the speed fines. We need our traffic officers to be visible and to address all moving violations, to ensure that people do not drive drunk, that the vehicles are roadworthy, that it is a licensed driver driving. So I think on the enforcement side we need to do a lot more. Interesting statistics is that in the Western Cape they've said only about 11% of drunk driving charges result in a conviction. And we definitely need to look at our legal processes in enforcement to ensure that the roads are much, much safer.
Yes. Now, in terms of education, and I know that there's a lot, that has been discussed, bills that have been proposed. For instance, the retesting of drivers, when you renew, current driver, when you renew. Wouldn't that also help, or do you think it's just, another attempt or futile attempt by the government in trying to address, road safety?
Yeah, at the moment, legislation is important. I'm one of those believers that believe that there's not much wrong with our legislation. We just need to enforce that legislation properly. I'll give you an indication. The Minister of Transport recently announced legislation that was lacking and which is implemented now is, for instance, the child safety seat, car seat for kids.
Yes.
There always was a gap in the legislation for our kids between 0 and 3 years old, the so-called infant.
Mm.
And the seatbelt legislation always only focused on kids 3 years and older.
Yeah.
And now, by law, all children below the age of 3 years must be in a car seat. Now, that is legislation that was needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that got corrected. And, that void was kind of filled now.
Mm.
But a lot of the other legislation, I know there's a lot of debate now around the reducing of the speed limits and stuff.
Yes.
There's a lot of debate also on trying to remove the trucks during the busy hours from the road and stuff, whether that is workable.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about kids, and perhaps we need to get that amongst the attention of our listeners.
Mm.
Our South Africans, it seems like we have an inability to reduce our speed to the specific conditions.
Mm.
And we welcome the speed reduction when it comes to specific rural areas and around our schools.
Mm.
We had in 2013 in the Western Cape 191 child road deaths.
Mm.
And of those, 126 were children run over, pedestrian deaths.
Oh.
So, and of that 126, there were 90 of kids dying on the roads who were below the ages of 10 years old.
Mm.
So we definitely are in favor of a reduction of, for instance, speed limits when it comes to our schools.
Mm.
Worldwide, there's international kind of acceptance that a speed limit near a school should not be higher than 50 kilometers an hour.
Mm.
I know in the moment on the kids' side, companies such as Imperial do a lot of good work when it comes to education on school level, and I think next week they will have 600 schools, over the last 2 years, who got scholar patrol, which increases the safety of our pupils, of our school scholars right next to the schools, and also provide education element. But definitely when it comes to legislation, we welcome that limitation.
Mm.
We believe, though, that traffic authorities need to look at specific locations and apply the correct speed limit for that area. We all have a certain stretch now in our roads where we live, where we believe that a reduction from 60 to 40 kilometers an hour may be a bit, ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as we focus our speed limits and our enforcement where it is needed and where it is required, I think we will do a lot more.
Yeah. Now, Advocate, tell me here, in terms of scholar transport. Before I talk to you, I gave statistics about the number of cars or taxis transporting children or buses transporting children. They have been overturning left, right, and center. How then do we try and improve the safety of the scholar transport? Because a lot of kids are getting injured in this particular mode of transport here.
I must say, it is difficult. I know the newly proposed regulations will, make it illegal to transport scholars on the back of a vehicle, on the back of a buggy.
Yeah.
But it is one thing getting the new legislation in place. Mm-hmm. But first, we need to ensure that there are other transport available.
Mm.
We cannot simply just outlaw it and not have a viable option.
Sure. Sure.
So that is important. I believe that self-regulation may go a long way. I know in the Western Cape, I know Child Safe, together with Discovery and the Global Road Safety Partnership, have focused the last year or so on using fleet management technology tools. And I think that can go a long way. If we have measurable data, and if the drivers of scholar transport vehicles, if they know that their driving behavior is measured and can be reported and can be captured, I think it will go a long way, because then as a driver you know that you will not speed, you will not corner, do harsh cornering and harsh braking and stuff. So I think there is technology available out there which can also make a significant contribution to ensure that those drivers who drive our scholars, to schools, that they obey the rules of the road and that they drive in a manner that is safe and responsible.
Okay. Now, Advocate, lastly, what is it then moving forward that you like to, urge road users to do, as moving forward? Yeah.
I think it's very important that we focus on defensive driving.
Mm-hmm.
We know that there are so many reckless road users out there. We cannot merely assume safety. We get crash reports daily, from crashes at intersections. So you cannot drive to an intersection and just assume because the light is, the traffic light is green, that you should just proceed. We should reduce our speed and be cautious. Approach and proceed across intersections of caution. And also because we know it is so dangerous on our roads, the best thing you can do is to ensure that you are buckled in. Not only the driver, but also the backseat passengers. It's the first thing that we can do towards safety to protect ourselves. So we would like to plead with all the road users to ensure that they drive with caution, that they are buckled up, that they avoid distractions when they are driving, that they remain very alert, whether they are pedestrians, drivers, passengers, cyclists, that we all are very much focused on defensive road behavior.
Okay, Advocate, thank you very much for your time and thank you for talking to us.
It's a pleasure. Have a good and a safe weekend.
Thank you. That was Advocate Johan Yok from Arrive Alive talking to us, about the simple things. Let's drive defensively, buckle up, and actually observe, specified speed limit. Hey, we know that South Africa's roads are, regarded as one of the most dangerous roads on the edge. And hey, if you're transporting kids, please, man, stop overloading and don't run. Those are our future leaders. The show is called SA Today. My name is Sam. You're listening to Ubuntu Radio. Let's do this.